Hello everybody, this is Obi aka 3X welcoming you back inside of the weekly upload update. This is volume 2 episode 2, and before we get started with showing you the new hotness, we're back here in my uploads menu to show that the 5 CAWS that I featured in last week's video, Haley Jonas, Jamie Fury, Tadako Togo, Sarah Warfield, and Sonia Robbins, are still up and available for download on the PlayStation 4 Community Creation servers. Robbins, as you can see, is almost near 300 downloads by the community. That's pretty cool. Now, if you take a look up at the top right of the screen there, you will see that I have just over 1,300 downloads of my content thus far in the first full week of 2K18's release, and I'm only 698 away from unlocking Silver Rank, which will unlock 5 more CAWS slots for me. The 5 creations that you see in this video will be filling up those 5 slots. So if we're averaging things out, that means that I should probably have them uploaded at some point, either midway or towards the end of this coming week of today, Sunday the 22nd of October 2017. Now, the moment that they are live, either by me uploading them into the silver tier slots here, or by replacing the 5 CAWS that I already have here, if I don't have it unlocked, you will be notified in 3 ways. I will be tweeting the announcement out, so make sure you follow me on Twitter if you are on that network, at Fine Tuning Brand. I will also be posting it down in the description below this video, and also pinning a comment on this video to inform you all that they are in fact live and available for download. So make sure you follow me on Twitter, and also make sure that you are subscribed to my channel here and you have notifications on, because notifications will also let you know whenever it is that I make those type of posts on my channel, not just uploading new videos. So that being said, this week we are going to be taking a look at the 5 top heels, or villains if you are not familiar with wrestling terminology, for my XWA roster. Let's get right into it. And we'll start things off by having a look at the returning former XWA Diamond Champion, this of course being Sin Callahan. And you'll notice right off the bat that I gave her more hair. I like to do these subtle little changes from year to year on my characters to kind of indicate the passage of time between seasons, if you will. So sometimes I might change someone's hair color, I might give them a slightly bit more hair, like Sin's here is, or I might give them a haircut. In the case of male CAWS, I might let their facial hair grow out a little bit more, or clean shave them. Just little subtle things to indicate the fact that this is a slightly different version from the version that you've had or seen in the previous version of the game. Now, the face, just like it has been over the course of the last 3 games since it switched over to the current generation of consoles, is based off of a Russian pop star singer. She has some stuff released here in the States, I think, as well. But anyway, her name is Sasha Gradiva, and you see pictures superimposed on the side of the screen there. Most noted for being called the Gun Girl, because a couple of years ago she appeared at the Grammys with a dress that had her outfitted in like these armaments that looked like actual guns connected to her. It was pretty cool, very eye-popping, and so on and so forth. But she's still pretty active, very active even on social media. I've obviously follow her on Instagram there. And when I had initially recreated Callahan here from the last gen versions of her on the PlayStation 2, once I saw that face, I was like, okay, that's what I'm gonna go with for making her look a little more photorealistic when it is that they actually first implemented the photo importing features and being able to texture faces onto your creations. So the ink work is pretty much the same as you would probably have expected from last year's version of the game. You've got this kind of tombstone-ish design with the skeletons and vines there, really gothic and evil looking on the left arm. I had that repeated on the right arm last year, but instead this year I decided to change things up there and give it a different sleeve, which is kind of in the same vein. You got a lot of skulls there, and they're being connected by kind of these vines or fleshy, I guess, tears or whatever it is you want to call it. Really evil looking there. You can probably even see a pentagram on the forehead of one particular skull there, and upside down cross on the head of another one. And that pretty much plays into the persona, or the new persona, I should say, of Sin going forward. I originally had her as kind of like just a bitchy type of hypersexualized heel character, kind of lascivious, and those traits are still going to carry over into her personality over the course of the XWA shows, but there's a little more evil things, a little more darkness going on in the character of Sin Callahan, specifically as of XWA Ambition, of which if you have not watched that, you will be able to see that, because I'll probably have something popped up at this point right here that will give you a link to watching that particular show. But there were some very interesting things that happened over the course of that championship match between her and Haley Jonas. Preferably the appearances of 3 distinctive people, that being the Empresses of Pain, Uriko, Tanaka, and Tamara, even though Tamara didn't quite make it down to the ring, and the Lotus. And those were all planting seeds for what is going to be one of the main storylines I will be having going on in XWA Girl Fight shows in 2K18. Without giving any spoilers, the fact that one of Sin's eyes here is pale white also kind of has something to do with that angle that I'm working on or have planned out, and will just be playing out over the course of the shows. So that's as far as that goes. You've got a replay of the grave ink here on the leg, just like it was last year. And of course the Sin logo, which is always one of the nicer touches that I added to kind of add to that kind of gothic sexualization thing I was talking about earlier, where you got the skeleton bones that look right now like they're grabbing at Sin's ass. And of course the Sin is in slogan there. Of course that is also on her chest, so it looks like they're also grabbing at her boobs. I decided to kind of crop out the Sin is in logo there on the top because it didn't look as good as it is that I had it last year. You know, I just wanted the hands themselves to be the prominent element on the top here in this case. And in case you were wondering, it is embossed, so it has a very kind of 3D look to it, like it's not just painted on the actual top there. And that's something that I've been doing a lot on the logo work of my female attires specifically, since I found out exactly how effective the emboss feature is. Let's go and switch over and take a look at her secondary attire now. And this one is a lot closer to the ring gear that she had last year, specifically what she wore at XWA Ambition. That kind of halter top type deal, with the exception of the fact that I turned the trim into a metallic silver for a nice effect. Kind of complements the armband there with the metal trim and the metallic studs. Once again, you've got the skeleton bone hands. You've got the skeleton bone hands covering the boobage. Same face. And pretty much all other elements remain the same here. I'm also going to be changing the buckles on that one, but that's going to take a little bit more time because of the secondary attire. The entrance gear on the secondary attire is another example of stuff they can actually carry over into the actual ring gear, and that involves some extra deleting and stuff like that I'll do after I'm done talking here about this particular car and character, which I'm basically done. I mean, it's a pretty even conversion from last year, just with some subtle changes in her appearance and not so subtle changes in her tattoos, just to kind of give a little more variation and not be using the same things over and over again. Oh yeah, let me talk about the back tattoo there. It's once again still the same as it was last year, kind of a combination of 3 different elements. The main element obviously being the wings, which of course I found from a Google image search. Very, very cool and dark looking. We got the black kind of crowish wings with some butterfly wings and moth wings kind of all co-joined with each other like some kind of monstrosity there. You can kind of sort of see the blood spatters there, even though it's kind of blocked off by the back strap. That was something that I added on to the tattoo myself when I first implemented it, because I wanted it to look like they were actually sprouting from her back. And wings like these aren't exactly going to come out like angel wings. They're not going to be like glowing, flowing things. No, they're going to bust right out of your skin and hurt and look like they're agonizing. And that's pretty much the kind of persona that I wanted to portray with Sin Callahan, and it worked. You also can't see the Sin letters, the name, her actual nickname, kind of hidden behind the strap there as well, but that's there. It's kind of a personalized custom tattoo. So as such, with this being a custom tattoo, like I said before, unfortunately, I will not be uploading this one. And then of course there's the tramp stamp, which kind of is self-explanatory to her and her I guess you could say preferences to how it is that she likes certain things done. We'll leave it at that because I want to keep this as advertiser friendly as possible, even though it's probably not going to be advertiser friendly. Like, it's kind of funny. Most of my videos aren't at the present moment, but some of them kind of creep through. I don't get it. I have no idea what it is that they want to make these freaking videos acceptable by these new YouTube guidelines, but whatever. I'm actually going to go into a little more detail with that part of this whole thing, the YouTube part, in a separate video, so we won't get too distracted by that. Yeah, I got so out of whack there on my freaking tangents that I forgot to show you the entrance tires. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's the kind of Mad Max-ish jacket. No logo work on the back because I don't actually have any logo work that would work for this jacket that is specific to Sin. Her logo pretty much is the skeleton hands. Maybe I'll make a separate skeleton logo and put on there at some point in time. Won't be anytime soon though, so it'll just be a bare jacket with the metal shoulder pad there. I definitely like the improvements they made to the textures in 2K18, or maybe it was just because I didn't use the textures that much on my creations last year, like making something look more metallic or like leather, cloth, satin, that type of thing. Very noticeable in this year's game. But again, that could just be because I hadn't used them before. It's probably been like that the whole time and I just never paid attention. But I know about it now. So yeah, that's how that goes. Pad looks really good in game, the way it shimmers and the lights and lighting and so on and so forth. So that's the primary attire entrance gear. And we'll take a quick look at the secondary attire's entrance gear now. So you might recall me mentioning a kind of a dominatrix type of look that I had for Sonya Robbins last year that I changed up because I also kind of had that same look going on with Sin in one of her entrance gears for 2K17. I decided I wanted to go with something different as far as entrance gears for her, at least at the start here in 2K18. So we've got this kind of combination of a chainmail thing going here. We got the chainmail top, obviously, which is taken directly from Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner himself. And then I combined that with the kind of chainmail entrance attire that Shawn Michaels has worn on several occasions. And it's got a very nice effect to it. She's got kind of an evil succubus type thing going on here. I just wish you could like add on more. But unfortunately, there's limits to how much stuff you can slap onto a car because of, I guess, frame rates and polygons and so on and so forth. But if I could put like wings on the back of it, I would make them black wings just to kind of complete the look. Kind of like a dark angel type of thing. That's just me brainstorming off ideas that I've been coming up with over the course of the past couple of days since I've been fleshing out the backstories of my characters. And like I said, Sin's story is going to get a little deeper. She's no longer going to be just the atypical bitch type of sexy heel. There's a lot going on with this woman that I will kind of elaborate a little bit on when I show you who it is that she is going to be involved with in this year's game. But yeah, that's your entrance attires, and that is the 2017 version of Sin Callahan. Pretty much 100% complete. I might change up a couple of things, but overall this look is going to remain pretty consistent for the character going forward. Say hello to the primary reason behind Sin Callahan's sudden change of attitude. This, of course, is one half, or should I say 1/3 now, of the group known as the Empresses of Pain, and she goes by the name of Uriko Tanaka. Now, you can probably remember her in some appearances on Girl Fights, and of course, like I said, she had that interference in the Diamond Championship match in XWA Ambition. You will notice that she looks dramatically different from that version that you saw in 2K17. That was pretty much a placeholder, kind of a work in progress type of deal for her appearance-wise. I had the face, I had the concept, but I just didn't have enough time to really elaborate on how it is that I wanted her to look. So we went with the kind of basic tattoo-less, dark-looking chick that you had in 2K17, wearing the all black and the Oscar mask and so on and so forth. So this year I went in and really concepted out how it is that I wanted her to look. And one of the main elements that I wanted to have for the character was spider webs. That's kind of a thing that is symbolic to the character and what it is that she is doing in the XWA. So we've got a lot of things going on there. The actual concept for the ink layout that I have here came when I was doing a Google search for spiders and web tattoo designs, clip art, and so on and so forth. And I saw this piece right here that you see on your screen, which is freaking awesome. And I wish that I was able to completely create that type of a look on the character models within the game, but unfortunately there are some limitations here because we're not talking about like 3D design or anything like that. I'm not working with Poser or something like that, CGI. We're putting logos on the preset car model. So there's only but so much detail that you can have, unfortunately. But if I could get that type of wrapping around the entire top half of the torso without having to double over the same graphics on the back, like just completely wrapping it around the model, then that would be the look that she would have right there. But we kind of have the next best thing, or the best possible thing, going on with the combination of tattoo designs that I have placed here on her person. On the underside, you have a single spider web basically stretched out to reach out across the traps onto the shoulders. I also repeated that effect along the back side there, so it kind of sort of gives the illusion that she has a spider web wrapped around her neck. Then there's a separate element there. You can't completely see it because I can't actually show you how it looks directly on the flesh because limitations, no nudity, that type of stuff. But what you see underneath that is basically a heart shape that is made out of spider webs, and then an actual spider that is crawling down from that heart shape, and that goes in between the cleavage down onto the abs. And then the skull spider there that I might actually darken up a little bit at some point. I mean, it still looks good, but it's just too much gray going on there. I want it to be kind of like a solid black, and I don't want to use a regular spider because I really like the effect that that thing has. You'll see it superimposed on the side of your screen there as well. It's a tarantula coming out of a skull. That is kinda sick and evil, and yeah, Uriko is basically sick and evil, so yeah, it kind of fits pretty well. And then continuing on, adding with more tattoo designs here, they got kind of the dead girl tattoo on the left arm, the skull underneath and some roses, nice touch there. And then probably the main element in her design, as you will clearly see on the rest of the attire, is on the right side tattoo, where you have this kind of spider with an eye sticking out of its back or thorax, if you want to be scientifically accurate. And yeah, it's kind of an old style tattoo design, you know, the old kind of 50s, 60s Ed Hardy-ish type of tattoo designs, but it looks cool, and it's very, very distinctive and prominent design there. especially with it being red as opposed to it being all black. You see red elements on the other arm tattoo as well, but it's a little more prominent here, and it really helps the overall tattoo design stick out on her skin a whole lot. And it did so much that I decided I wanted to use that same element on the rest of her gear. So you see the same spider and red webbing on her top, also on her right armband here, and on the left side of her leather pants. And once again, the texture effects are freaking awesome, because those were just regular old jeans from the bottoms selection that I turned into black leather. And you can see that it looks exactly and actually like black leather. That's pretty awesome. So it's a really basic design. She pretty much wrestles in street clothes for most practical purposes. Nothing too elaborate. She's got some really complex things going on in a story context. But as far as the actual attire, I didn't want to make it look too different from how it is I had her set up in 2K17. I just wanted to add on more to it to give her more distinct character. So let's take a look up top here at the face. And underneath the red and black and the evil eye is an actually very attractive looking Asian female face texture that I had found on my image searching, that I had originally used for a completely different character, one that hit the cutting room floor. Obviously, she's not one that I ever released. It was going to be kind of like a positive type of Japanese Puro character. That concept kind of evolved into what eventually became Suki Nobu, who of course I used the face of Devin Aoki as the basis of her physical appearance. So I ended up having a face here that I had no use for. I didn't have a character for it. So then I started concepting Uriko and where it is that she's going to place within the XWA universe. And luckily enough, I just happened to have a Japanese female face texture just lying around conveniently to the point where I didn't need to find another one. So there's the backstory behind that process. One thing kind of leading into the other. And yeah, so nice little coincidence there. Then as far as the hair goes, I forgot whose actual hair this was, but you know, it kind of worked itself out. You got the red highlights there. That's the automatic red highlights, just pre-colored. It's not the hair dye, because the hair dye sucks at this present moment. Like, okay, slight rant here. They patched in the final patch of 2K17 a feature where you could actually go completely around the core model and make it completely still, to where you could actually add on hair dye easily, like with pinpoint precision. For whatever reason, they took that out. Like, it's just not there in 2K18 right now. And not only that, but you have the core model that just moves naturally, like as if it's breathing and such like that, and they'll automatically make these slight movements that makes it a complete and total pain in the ass to apply hair dye, because they won't stand freaking still. So I'm hoping that there is enough of an outcry from the 2K community for them to put that back into the game, because it was a late game patch last year, and I have no idea why it is that they couldn't just add that into the code for this year's game, as opposed to us having to wait potentially months, if ever, for them to put that one little feature back in. I mean, it's not game breaking or anything, But it's just one of those quality of life type of situations that will really make things a lot easier for, you know, doing things a little more detailed with your creations. That being said, we'll just get right back into the actual core here. And I'll have you take a look at her entrance attire. So once again, we've got the leather effect going on here. And once again, I decided to go without a logo because the placement really wasn't working for me. Like, I initially had it on the back, but then you have this kind of padding going on here. So I colored that completely black, and it looked okay, but then that's when I started realizing, hey, these textures really look good. So then I started to experiment and changed that padding into the silver color metallic that you see here. And yeah, after that I was like, okay, I guess we're just not going with a logo on the coat, because this looks too good on its own to put anything else over it to take away the emphasis on this type of dark queen, evil death dealer type of thing we've got going on here with Uriko's look. She looks like she could be in like a Blade movie or an Underworld movie, like this super badass vampire chick. Obviously the villain, but yeah, you know, it's just one of those things where just one thing makes everything look that much better. And I actually had to go with this here because the initial idea that I had was I was going to have her wearing the same entrance gear that I had her in last year, which was kind of that Chinese coat with the Oscar mask. Problem is, you can't put the Oscar mask on over with this hairstyle. So I went ahead and put her old hairstyle on just to see if I could put the Oscar mask on there, and I couldn't. So we had to make changes. And in actuality, I'm glad I made that change, because now she looks a whole lot more detailed than even last year's version of this particular character. I really wish I could actually put that hood on. You see how you have like that hood on the back there? I wish that could actually go up, because if she could wear this long coat with a hood going over it, then that would just set it completely over the top. Book it, Vince. Bam. Yeah. So now it looks even better. You still got the hair kind of sticking up, but I think we can overlook that one little subtlety there for the sake of the overall effect of the character. So yeah. Boy. I love when this type of stuff happens. You just have these ideas that just pop in your head, and you just give it a try, see how it looks, and it works. It's that much more fun when it works. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and finalize that. And I'm going to do that same thing on the secondary attire, which is pretty much the same. The only difference really is the top. Give you a closer look there. That's the Carmella tank top there, and it's pretty much the same idea. You know, put the spider on, you can see a little bit more of the eye there because it's a larger area, but once again, leather material effect. Everything else is pretty much the same pants, all that jazz. Not too much variation, because I didn't want to have too much variation on the character. She is what she is. She comes as she goes, just like Haley. So that's where that goes. So we're going to slap that hood on the secondary entrance gear, and yeah, Uriko is pretty much going to be a central heel character in the 2018 season. Once again, I can't actually elaborate too much without giving you spoilers, but I've kind of sort of been sowing the seeds as far as her placement in things and who it is that she is involved with, which obviously includes Sin Callahan and also the Lotus, who you will be seeing in a future video, probably next week's video, and wait until you see what I did with her. If you think this stuff is awesome, wait until you see what I did with the Lotus. Oh boy, you're gonna like that a lot. But yeah, she is a shadowy figure, and she stands to have a very, very big impact on the Diamond Division. And when you see exactly how I play that out, you're going to really enjoy the 2018 season of XWA Girl Fight. Next up, we have the leader of the Blood Diamonds and the personal liaison for XWA co-owner Tyson Blackheart. This, of course, is Alexia Leone, who is also the former friend of the former XWA Pro Champion Kimiko. So yeah, she's got a lot going on for her right now. That's an understatement. For the 2018 campaign, changed things up a little bit. The jacket here is what it was that I was talking initially about earlier, about some jackets actually being able to be used as ring attire. This was originally going to be her entrance gear. Underneath that is kind of the kind of tied up schoolgirl top. I was originally going for a look that was kind of a mockery, so to speak, of Kimiko's schoolgirl gear, because that's one of the endearing traits of Miss Leone. She wants to make a mockery and an example of her ex-bestie, but then I put the jacket on because she kind of had that jacket as an entrance attire for last year's version of the game, and it looked pretty good, especially with the leather effect and the combination of the logo there. And I decided that I wanted to stick with that instead. She's got the platinum chains going on there to kind of symbolize a certain amount of wealth that she has being under the employ of Mr. Blackheart. And then once again, you got the logo work. That's a design that is actually one of her tattoos that was doctored up with Photoshop styles, and it's been made into a prominent element in her ring gear now, as in the kick pads, the top, the jacket, everything, even the gloves. Really self-explanatory look there, and I'm actually going to strip her down here for a second to give you a slightly closer look at the ink work, which you can't entirely see because of the ring gear, but it's there and I want you to see how it looks. So here you see the back tattoo. It's kind of like a tribal looking griffin. I didn't want to use a dragon because I use dragons way too much in a lot of my other creations. So we want to do something different here in this griffin type bird thing. It could be a griffin, it could be a quetzalcoatl, it could be a phoenix. I'm not entirely sure. I don't entirely remember, but it looks good. So that's all that really matters. And then the arm tattoo, obviously, which is the element that I used for the rest of her ring gear as far as the logo work goes. There you see it in its original form. That is actually wrapped as opposed to using the other method of applying logos, because I wanted it to look bigger on her arm. And of course, if I stretched it out using the standard method, it would blur out the edges. So we put the wrap on, which means it's going to sit lower than it did on her last year, where I had it sitting right at the shoulder. You just have to suspend some disbelief as far as the change in the tattoo layout there. I actually thought briefly about giving her more ink on the other arm, but decided not to and just keep her the way that it is, because she's not exactly the type who is going to be tattoo heavy. It's not a thing for her, actually. The main tattoo here actually has its significance because it kind of reminds me of the all-seeing eye, if you will, symbol of the Illuminati, which is kind of sort of the concept that I have going with this organization that Tyson Blackheart is in control of in his attempts to try to take over the XWA and also his sister Carmella's own corporation, the Blackheart Foundation. So he's kind of amassed his own little corporate empire, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use that as the actual logo, but it is going to be an element in it. And obviously the fact that it's tattooed on Alexia's arm means that she has some kind of significant role in whatever this group is. I'm still kind of working on how that is going to play out, but yeah. Secondary attire is pretty much the same exact thing, except for the fact that the logo work is gray as opposed to it being red. But otherwise, every element is pretty much similar, and I decided I wanted to go with the red being the primary color scheme, because last year I actually had this black and gray as her primary. And the reason I did that is because the name of her faction is Blood Diamonds. So it would only make sense and be logical for her primary color scheme to be red, as opposed to it being black. I mean, it's a pretty simple change with a pretty simple idea, but what can you do? Everything has to work out. And most of the stuff that I do as far as my ideas typically has a very good reason and a lot of conceptualization going on with it. One thing here with the bottoms is I wanted maybe to make it so that the eye shows a little bit more, but it just didn't look right to me. Like, too much of the design took over the actual look of the attire, and I want the actual black parts of the leather to show off more than the actual logo itself. The logo itself is an element of the look. I didn't want it to be the dominant part of it, so just a little extra information for you there. Really no benefit for you knowing that, but I just wanted to say that just to, fill up some empty space here. Aside from that, she's pretty cut and dry. I mean, the design, again, is an example of a complete work of a concept that I came up with when I started thinking about how it is that I wanted to make her look different from last year. And this is the end results, and I really like how it came out, so this is going to be how she's going to be looking for the foreseeable future. No real plans on making any edits or changing any elements to this layout or ring gear or anything of the sort. So yeah, Miss Leone is a complete work, and she and her companions are going to be doing some work and some damage in the Diamond Division in 2018. I actually do have the other two Blood Diamonds 100% complete, that of course being Arlene Driver and Cordelia. They will be featured in probably next week's video as well. We're going to kind of start mixing things up and not have so much concepts as far as who it is that I'm going to show off. I just wanted to kind of compartmentalize my top faces and top heels so that you know exactly who it is that are, I guess, top of the pecking order, if you will. And then everybody else is just going to be shown off as it is that I complete them. At this point, I have 19 female CAWS 100% done. And you will see them all over the course of the next couple of weeks in future videos. But as far as Miss Leone here goes, she's done, so are her friends, but you'll be getting her first. Next up, we have the leader of the group known as Paragon. This, of course, is Channelle. Full name, Channelle Valencia. Little fun fact for you guys out there. She is, in fact, my longest running heel female character. So amongst all the 5 that you've seen here, she's pretty much the veteran, if you will, amongst the bad guys of the Diamond Division. Now, as we take a look at the primary attire, Channelle has gone Hollywood, like completely Hollywood here. This is an idea that I had kind of been messing around with over the course of the past couple of years, whether I wanted to just pull the trigger on it or not, because for a long time I had been using character concepts and designs from the likes of, say, Angelina Love / Angel Williams, Michelle McCool, basically that type of team flawless / beautiful people type of catty, bitchy heel character, which still is very much what Channelle is, but I've also just basically embraced the fact that she is a celluloid product of Hollywood, California. She believes that she is a superstar, so to speak, and it shows, especially in terms of the concepts of the designs that I have put on her ring gear. Now, these logos here I have actually had made for her, I would say 2 years ago, and never used them because I wasn't completely sure what it was that I was going to be doing with the character. So this stuff here is old content that I've finally put on in 2018 to complete the I guess you could say evolution of the Channelle character into something that's a bit of how you say, a bit Gold Dust, a bit Angelina Love, Michelle McCool, all kind of rolled up into one. She's like really, it's kind of hard to explain it. I have to, you have to see it in game, and you also have to see basically the concepts that I will be putting forth when it is that I will be showcasing her on XWA Girl Fights. But yeah, basically she's all blinged out here, and the emboss effect definitely makes this design pop out so well that it almost legitimately looks like her ring gear is diamond encrusted, which unfortunately I can't get that full effect because I don't get the metallics like you can with the regular logos, like the primitives and the WWE logos and stuff like that. But it's pretty close, and it looks really good. So as far as the actual ring gear itself, mixed and matched a couple of things. Those are the ivory tights there. I wanted to give her an actual more traditional wrestling attire, as opposed to some of the looks that I've had her in the past, which kind of sort of look like street clothes and sometimes look like variations of Angelina Love's gear. Went a little different this time and just gave her her own specific ring appearance. You can see on the boots there, you got the Carmella C logo. I've actually used the C logo in the past before for Channelle. There was Christians that I used. There was also just plain C's that I had used in kind of like the copyright symbol type of appearance. But I decided to go with something different. And fortunately, the WWE provided me with already pre-made material thanks to one certain princess of Staten Island. So yeah, it works out very well, and it also fits very well into the type of character that Channelle is going to be going forward. So yeah, it's one of those situations yet again where things just fell into place and I was able to get the effect that I wanted to get out of the character's look in order to match the character's personality that I will be presenting forth on the shows. And as we take a look at the entrance attire, you can once again see that she has, yes indeed, in fact gone full Hollywood starlet here. You got the short fur coat, the gold medal Kanye / Sasha Banks glasses. Please ignore the fact that it actually says Sasha Banks on the side of the glasses. Just, just use your imagination and go with that. But yeah, she has completely embraced that whole concept of thinking that she is a superstar, pretty much. I went with the short fur coat here because I couldn't use the long fur coat because that's entrance attire piece for Vesper Gold, who will also be making a return in the 2018 season, and in fact, may even actually be joining forces with Miss Channelle and her compatriots in Paragon, because the character just kind of fits into that whole concept and persona of Paragon, where they all just basically believe that they're better in every single way than any other female in the Diamond Division. So be on the lookout for that. It's kind of a sort of story spoiler, but not really a spoiler because I just came up with that idea just as I said it right now. Like, boom, it's in my head. So now you got a little something to look forward to there. And sirens. Not sure if you hear those, but yeah. It just wouldn't be a weekly upload update video without a special guest appearance from the New York City Police Department, Fire Department, or EMTs. That kind of sounds like a fire truck to me though, but yeah. Anyway, here is Channelle's secondary attire, which is a lot closer to her primary attire from last year. That logo right there was just too good for me to just give up. So yeah, we made that look number 2. And it's pretty self-explanatory to what type of character Channelle Valencia is, without even me saying it, because I'm not actually going to say it, because, I want to be advertiser friendly. The fact that you see it there, even if it's censored, probably makes this video unmonetizable anyway. But whatever, I don't care. I do care, but I'm just gonna say I don't care. Anyway, same elements otherwise, pretty much as far as the attire itself. We just did a change up on the logos here, also in the back. The boots are pretty much the same, gold trim with the C. And this is kind of like 2 different sides, if you will, of the Channelle character. On the one side, you've got the Hollywood blonde starlet, and then on the other side, you got this kind of, I guess, wannabe hip-hop video chick type deal. kind of Carmella-ish. As you can see with the entrance gear for the secondary attire, we got the Letterman jacket with the C. Logo is also on the back there. And then we've got the Carmella cap. It kind of just worked out pretty flawlessly. Once again, just, you know, stuff just lying there for me to use. Like, no effort whatsoever in the creation or recreation of Channelle, because there was just so much stuff that was right there for me to use. The main thing was me deciding I wanted to change up the overall look of her primary attire and kind of incorporate that type of persona into her character. While we have a close-up here, however, I will reference the fact that her face model or face texture is that of one Coco Austin, who is known more prominently as the wife of rapper slash actor Ice-T, and is known even more prominently for having one of the most, I would say, let's say, ample posteriors out there. You can see there on the side of your screen exactly what it is that I'm talking about. And yeah, that pretty much is going to make this video not advertiser friendly. I tried, man. I tried. It's just not gonna happen. But yeah, that had always been the character concept as far as her appearance goes. So another perfect example of how the face photo importing feature just helps a whole lot with the creation of these characters and making them that much more unique. But yeah, that is Channelle in a nutshell. And much like Miss Leone before her, her companions are also 100% complete. Paragon is completely done, as in Isis Diamante, Tiffany Queensberry, and Jersey Red, who I had kind of shown off a work in progress version in Volume 1 of the weekly upload update. She's gotten a wee bit of an overhaul and looks completely badass. Cannot wait to show her to you, but that will have to wait. In the meantime, however, you will get the leader available for your own game in the very, very near future. And rounding out the list for this week's Woo is the current reigning XWA Pearl Champion, newly crowned. Of course, I'm speaking of vindictive Varetta Vendetta. And you can obviously see the character concept of Miss Vendetta is primarily taken from Christy Von Eerie, specifically the hair, obviously, the tattoos, and the fact that she's got this dark punk rock-ish looking effect going for her. I don't remember if I've actually given her this type of weekly upload update treatment before, where I give you a closer look at the character design, but in case I haven't, I'll give you the full rundown here. And you can take a look at the face and notice that there's some very, very, very similar appearances to a certain actress out there. And that is because the face that I had used for her creation, it's a slightly modified face texture of Angelina Jolie. And then you see the original photograph there. I say slightly modified considering the fact that Angelina Jolie's face is near perfect, but I went ahead and made it a bit more symmetrical, kind of like even the face out a little bit, so that it kind of sort of looks like her, but not entirely. because that was the effect that I wanted to get. I didn't want to give Vendetta Angelina Jolie's face 100%, because it kind of, I don't know, it just didn't fit as well as far as concepting goes. But this works out very well. You know, I wanted to go for a face that was different from Christy Von Eerie's, because then I would just be basically recreating a Christy Von Eerie called different tattoos. Not a good look. So we went completely out of the box, and the end result is pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. Take a look at the tattoos. Basically the same elements I used in last year's version, which is the same elements on both the arms and the back, which is a design that uses different skulls and variations of some branching and stuff like that going on. You can see it there in the back. That kind of spine thing going there too. Not so much on the right side because it's obstructed by the elbow pad, but it's pretty much the same design used across all three areas of the body, because why not? It looked good, so I just decided to stick with that as opposed to changing things up like I did with Sin Callahan. You'll also notice, if you had actually downloaded her last year, that she's got a lot more muscle tone going to her. I kind of made her a little bit bigger, mainly because I couldn't get that same type of body build that I had for the version last year, because they kind of changed that up for the better, if I do say so myself. But I couldn't recreate that specific type of look, which was kind of cool. But hey, why not? Just bulk her up, because she's a beast anyway, in a sense. So yeah, little subtle reference there. As far as the ring gear goes, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm using a skull and crossbones effect across several areas of her attire, some of which I didn't use last year, like say on the elbow pad, and also on the gloves, or wraps, hand wraps, which looks pretty cool. That's an example of things that you can make happen now that you can actually wrap logos around entire areas as opposed to having them stretch out. I think these actually did kind of stretch out a little bit, but against the black it looks damn good anyway, especially when she's got her fists up. It's a really, really nice touch there. And as far as the pants, we got the embossed effect on the side here, which once again creates a very, very distinctive look on what would normally just be regular in-game pants. I forgot who actually wears these specific pants. Is it Triple H, or did the Undertaker wear these? I'm not sure. I don't even remember. If you know, then leave me a comment down below and tell me. I mean, just for my need to know there. Then we got the Brock Lesnar boots. Really, really simple design. Just putting things together, recreating as best as I can the look that she had from last year, because there's no real need to change anything up on her look, because it's very, very, even as basic as it is very, very impactful. It's significant. It fits her character to a T. So that's the way that we decided I wanted to go. And the end result is pretty damn good, if I say so myself. Now as we take a look at the entrance attire, pretty much the same idea. I did the same thing with the jacket as I did with the pants, putting the skull and then adding the emboss feature to make it look like it's actually in the fabric as opposed to on the fabric. And if I said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. That effect just looks amazing, depending on what it is that you're doing it with. You can't do it with everything. You can't do it on everything. But if you can get it right, then the effects that you can create with that emboss function is just crazy. Just absolutely crazy. Now, even though this is a leather jacket, it doesn't exactly have a kind of glossy leather look on it. That's actually the default. And I decided I wanted to keep it that way. Mainly because if I actually did put the leather material texture on it, the back logo wouldn't look quite as good as it does now. So she's got kind of a matte leather thing as opposed to a gloss leather like you've seen on just about every other character in this video that has anything leather on them. So, you know. But then that just kind of fits well into the whole Varetta Vendetta persona. She's a black sheep, you know. She does her own thing. She doesn't follow any norms. She doesn't follow trends. She walks to her own beats. Anyway, let's take a look at the alternate attire now. And yeah, aside from a little variation on the arms with the hand wrap, you got there the armband with the stud belt there effect going. This is pretty much Nikki Cross's ring gear, just with a skull on the side there, which is a nice effect. But the Nikki Cross ring gear was pretty. It looks good on her. That's all I can say. It looks good on her. And I didn't want to do too much as far as a secondary attire. I was kind of lazy. But it also kind of plays into something that I plan on doing with Miss Varetta here. And that idea first came into play when I saw that they had Sanity in 2K18. And I saw that they had Sanity's entrance in 2K18 in full. And it looks amazing. So I've kind of got things going where I'm going to be introducing another new faction. And Miss Varetta is going to be the female contingent of said faction. And that right there is all the information that I'm going to be giving you as far as that goes. No spoilers here, folks. You're just going to have to keep watching and see what happens next. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you actually do. And yeah, there's not much else to say as far as this attire goes. There's no ring entrance gear for it because I actually used the Nikki Cross hooded jacket on someone else, which you'll see in another video. But that is Varetta Vendetta for you here. And she's still as warm and sociable as she ever was. And she'll be even more so this year, trust me on that one. And before I actually close this out, I'll just give you a couple of sneak peeks of some of the other creations that I actually have completed that you'll be seeing in future installments of the weekly upload update. Like I said, I got 19 already done, and I still have quite a few more that I have to finish before I start focusing on the men's roster. But here you see Arlene Driver and Cordelia, the other two members of the Blood Diamonds. Now keep in mind, all of these characters that you see here are 100% complete. I just can't upload them yet. And you see Jersey Red in her new form. Yeah, she looks like she is ready for a fight. Isis Diamante, glowing, shining bright like a diamond. Yeah, did I just say that? Yes, I did. Kind of can't go back on that now, can I? Speaking of glowing, there you see the new Lotus, and oh boy, you've got to see this one in game. Wait until you see that in game. You will be completely amazed. Then we also have Kamiko here, looking perky and bubbly as always. She's always been one of my favorite characters to create and to use. So really excited to show you what it is that I did with her. Even though it's not really different from what it is that you've already seen. But yeah, you'll get the idea. Then we have Madison Starr. A little more color on the hair there. Still just as perky as ever. Then we have Tamara. And Oh, yeah. I said wait until you see Lotus. Wait until you see what I did with her. Like, you can just basically see from the thumbnail that she's looking really beastly, and with very good reason. And then last but not least, there is the Duchess Tiffany Queensberry, which doesn't look very different from last year's version, but I'm still gonna give you a closer look on her as well, because I hadn't done that in any weekly upload updates in the past. So there. And that, my friends, will complete Volume 2, Episode 2 of the weekly upload update. As always, search tags for my CAWS will be 3XCAW, that's the number 3 followed by the letters X, CAW, or XWA. And once again, the 5 CAWS that you've seen in this video will be uploaded to the servers as soon as I get those 5 slots open from hitting Silver Tier, which is now about 600 or so downloads away from happening. I envision that happening probably sometime mid to late week this week of this video being released. And once again, I will be tweeting out the announcement and putting that in the description and in the comment section here on this video once that happens. That will be whether or not I replace the CAWS that I already have uploaded or add these to the 5 unlocked slots whenever it is that they are unlocked. Next week's video, I'll be showing you some more created works and completed works, much of which you are seeing little thumbnails here, but you will see in greater detail in episode 3 of volume 2 of the weekly upload updates. So that being said, thanks for watching, and as if it needs to be said again, I will do it anyway. Make sure you like this video if you've enjoyed it, and if you are new to the channel, then please subscribe. There will be more videos like this. I will be doing tutorial videos on the Creation Suite in 2K18, and of course my XWA shows themselves. And if you are subscribed, then make sure you hit that notification button, the little bell next to it, so that you are informed whenever it is that any one of these videos that I'm talking about right now is released to the public for consumption. And with that said, we got some more work to do here. I still got more creations to finish, and yeah, it just doesn't stop. But I'm having a blast doing it, and I'm really happy that you guys have been enjoying these videos and enjoying my work the way that you have. So just get ready for more, because more is coming. Thanks for watching once again, and until the next time, this is Obi aka 3X signing off. See ya!